Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, we are live. My name is Andrew, and thank you for joining the launch pad. Today we are here live on South Padre Island with a view of Starbase, Boca Chica, Texas, where the orbital tank farm and the suborbital tank farm have been spun up. There's a lot of venting happening from both the OTF and the suborbital tank farm. Engine chill vents actually looked like they started a little bit just a few minutes ago on Starship 24 on the right hand side there. We don't quite know exactly what kind of testing might be happening here, but because of the progress we've seen on the tank farms, we think if something exciting is going to happen, it would probably happen in 10 minutes or so, give or take, just based on the venting and everything that we're seeing. So welcome in, everybody, welcome in. Just Tom, Tim, Speedy. It's good to see everybody. I appreciate everybody stopping in to see what kind of activity we're going to see here today at Starbase. So let me know where you're watching from. Drop a comment where you're watching from, what state or country you're watching. And we're going to get this commentary started. Ask any questions you have, and we're going to do our best to answer those for you. But we should be in short order of seeing some excitement here shortly. We don't quite know what it could be, but I can give you a rundown of some of the potential options here in just a minute. Give me 10-20 seconds, and I'll be back on commentary with you. All right, I am back. We have people watching from France. Very cool, very cool. Heather says, hear you loud and clear. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate that. Again, my name is Andrew. I am here with the Launchpad, and we are checking out Starbase, Texas today, potentially in short order for some sort of testing. Let's kind of go into what we could be looking at for tests today. So one option is spin prime test. The spin prime test is what we saw happen about 3 weeks ago when we saw an explosion at the base of Booster 7. Now Booster 7 is back out on the pad, but in reality, all of our attention at the moment is on Ship 24 on the right-hand side. You can start to see some frost building up on the base of the vehicle. So we're wondering if, excuse me, we're wondering if we might see a spin prime test on Ship 24 here shortly. Another possibility is we could technically see a pre-burner or a static fire test. Based on what we know, there is no overpressure notice that has been sent out. Historically speaking, an overpressure notice would be required for either a pre-burner or a static fire test. However, a lot of time has passed since the last pre-burner and static fire test, so it is entirely possible that process has changed. We think an overpressure notice is still required, but I would say it's not 100% off the table. Another option is we could be seeing a full wet dress rehearsal. So we got venting going on the booster or the orbital launch mount at least, and of course on Ship 24 as well. So they could be doing some sort of wet dress rehearsal for launch here. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Hi from Sydney, Australia, says Jules. Welcome. Bend, Oregon, Justin. Shane says he's from West Central Minnesota. More France, Florida, Michigan. Wow, it's great to see everybody here. Thank you so much for stopping in and chatting with us. It's great to see people all over the country and the world tuning in to these exciting events as we kind of get closer to an orbital flight test of Starship here in the next couple months. It's midnight in France, Speedy says. Tim says he'll be back later. Sounds good, Tim. Kelvin says, do you think they will finally launch this month? So the only thing I can do is give you my best guess. And I would say this month is not super likely, just based on the kind of the slight setbacks they've had with Booster 7. I don't think it's impossible for them to launch this month, but I would vote that this month is less likely, but you never know. Yes, right now, Capstar, we are seeing dual testing of Ship 24 and Booster 7. The orbital tank farm and the suborbital tank farm are both venting and spinning up, which is really cool to see. Oasis Jr. Kieran Potter thinks that they might not launch until the first quarter of 2023. That's possible. I still think it's likely that we could see a launch this year, but we'll have to wait and see. Shane Gaming says, when is launch? So I'm not. There's no launch going to be happening today, but there may be some exciting testing happening anywhere from 5 minutes from now, until the window ends, which isn't until 10 p.m. Central Time. But all indications are that they're ramping up for a test imminently, sometime in the next few minutes. Adam, we're working on another camera possibility for this location. So we're gonna have some better views of these types of tests coming very soon. However, for today, this is as zoomed in as we get. Of course, during this type of testing, there is an exclusion zone, so you cannot get within X amount of miles, depending on where you're coming from. If you're actually on the Brownsville side, you really can't even get within like 20 miles of it because of where they have the road closed off. But since we're across the canal today, we are about 5 miles away from the pad. And we got our camera maxed out here for today, but I actually have another camera coming this week that we're going to do some testing with. That should give us some better views on upcoming streams. Shane Gaming says, what about Artemis 1? So Shane, Artemis 1 is currently scheduled for towards the end of this month, the 29th to be exact. So we're going to hope that all of the preparations required to get SLS on the pad and ready for launch on the 29th, we're going to hope that all happens according to plan, so we can truly see an SLS launch this month. That would be really amazing to see. Harris asks, has Ship 24's header tank had an increase since SN15 for orbital purposes? I don't know if you're asking for size or exactly what the question is, but I do think I recall that there was some changes. Like I think the LOX and the methane header tanks were combined, or not combined, but obviously I think both of them are at the top of the vehicle now. I would have to read up on that to refresh my memory on what changes they made with the header tanks on S24, but I know there was changes. David says, which will be tested, first ship or booster? I'm thinking that the ship is pretty close to some sort of test here. If it's going to do a spin prime or something, I think we might see that happen in very short order. Heather, thank you so much for the membership. Thanks for being a member, Heather. Heather says, help us hit 75k subs. Subscribe to TLP for free today. That would be awesome. That would be awesome, y'all, if you could help us hit that 75k mark. Just a year ago, I think we were around 5,000. Now we're just about at 75. So thank you so much for that comment. John is tuning in from Southwest England, 11 p.m., clear skies. Any good star viewing tonight, John? Welcome, everybody. We are on the road to 100K subscribers. Yep. This is why we do these streams, everybody. We want to get everybody interested in what's happening down here and make sure we provide a view for those who can't be here in person. Harris says, are SpaceX going to pre-burn all 20 engines at the same time? So, of course, we don't exactly know what the test we're going to see today is, whether it's just spin prime or if there's a chance we might see a pre-burner or static fire even. However, I guess either way the question is still relevant. When they do eventually do a pre-burner test on the ship, will they do them all 20 at the same time? And that is not clear at this moment. We are not entirely sure, nor is anybody entirely sure what their testing strategy is going to be for pre-burner tests on the booster. Are they going to do 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 5 at a time, or 20 all at once? Or some combination of that. We don't really know. We don't really know. The chopsticks are moving, says somebody, Bailey. Are they? I'll keep my eyes on them to see. Oh yeah, they do look like they've raised up. Is that true? Oh yeah, definitely. You are correct. If you may have seen last week or just a few days ago, there was actually a hydraulic line that burst or something along those lines on the tank farm arms. I'm sorry, on the launch tower arms. We were live streaming the Booster 7 rollout, and we were there live when that line or whatever it was ruptured. It was pretty loud, and I could smell the oil from the roadside stream. And it was pretty crazy to see, but yeah, there's no doubt those arms are indeed moving. Welcome NCJHD. Apologies, but the stream will be in English today. If they did all 20, that'd be cool to see, Shane. Oh my goodness, would that be awesome? Just seeing all of them fire up at the same time, that'd be absolutely insane. That would be insane. If you're hanging out here with us, waiting to see what kind of testing we're going to have today, don't forget to hit that like button. So I don't know the official reason for why they may have removed that. Sorry if we have a degradation in audio or video here for a second, but it looks like it's slowly coming back. But I know they're trying to make everything more streamlined, and they moved to the chines rather than the big chunky boxes of equipment. So there could be multiple reasons why they would have done that. TLP will be at the Artemis 1 launch. Absolutely, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin, are you also going? David, this one is not a roadside camera. We have our roadside cameras for rollouts, those types of activities, and when we're working on our future camera options. But for an event like this, we have to be across the canal. Capstar is planning on being there. Very cool. Kevin will be there too. Awesome, Kevin. Fairground Fun Day says, any date on Starship launch? There is no date currently scheduled, but today is an important milestone in trying to set that launch date. So, looks like we had a successful spin prime, or a spin prime on S24. Let me see what I'm looking at here. Last time S24 did a spin prime test, there was multiple tests in a row. So let's keep our eyes on S24 right now to see if we see any more. And the fact that they moved the chopsticks up on Booster 7, I would say keep your eyes peeled on both Booster 7 and S24 here. We could see more testing happen on either of these, but it did look like we may have just had a spin prime test on S24. Sorry, Fairground, I forget where I left on your question. So this is an important step in getting a launch date. We want to make sure Ship 24 is in good shape, and we'll see if how the booster is doing. I don't know if their plan is to use this booster for orbital or if they're just doing testing on it and then they're going to move to booster 8. But you know, I still think that there's a chance we'll see a launch in the next couple months. I think it's likely we might see a launch by the end of the year. Capstar says, okay, either my internet is messing up or y'all's feed is intermittently buffering. It's possible that there was a buffering issue a few minutes ago. We did have a satellite handoff, so we're broadcasting via Starlink. So this broadcast is going to space and back down to you. And there was a moment there where it didn't look like we had a established with a satellite. So. But it looks like we are better now. Metal ass. Okay, who fired Zach? Oh, Zach's still here. This is Andrew, and I am covering the Starbase coverage down here live. Today I'm at South Padre Island. Sometimes I'm at Boca Chica Beach, but I'm down here getting a bunch of footage and pictures for y'all to see. Did they fix the chopstick hydraulic issue? Virginia asked. That's actually a great question, Virginia. We saw them working on the chopsticks a lot today, so I don't know if they fixed it or if they're just in progress of fixing it. But the fact that the hydraulics wouldn't affect them moving the chopsticks up and down. I think it only impacts the movement side to side and the grabbing features of the chopsticks. So I don't know if they completely repaired it, or if it's kind of in a half repaired state and they were just able to move the chopsticks up and out of the way for testing. Kevin says better now. Very good. Brown says, surely the Virginia hydraulic lines aren't a hard problem. Yeah, Brown, if it was as simple as a line replacement or something, I would imagine that they have potentially resolved that by now, but if it's a bigger issue, it might be an in-progress state. Murillo is watching from Brazil. Starship is the salvation of human being towards Mars. Yes. Let's make this multiplanetary. Let's make life multiplanetary. Let's get to Mars. And today is just another milestone in preparation for that to happen. Fairgrounds cannot wait for Orbital. I've watched all the Starship launches. Really exciting times. Very cool, Fairground. Capstar says we need to include a seagull command. We will start working on that, Capstar. Harris, the launch pad. Looking at the orbital launch mount from the Rio Grande Valley aerial is a sight to behold. Do you know how many hold down clamps it has? Thanks. I actually don't know on top of my head how many hold down clamps it has, but it's a lot. I know that. I can imagine being up in a plane, taking a look at all this stuff from the sky. That must be really amazing. And that must be awesome. If any of you are just joining us, my name is Andrew. This is the launch pad. We have activity on the orbital tank farm with Booster 7, and we have activity on the suborbital tank farm with Ship 24. It looks like we saw a spin prime test just a little while ago on Ship 24. So we'll have to wait to see if that comes back as a success. Yeah, it sounds like we're having a couple Starlink drops today. It's usually pretty good out here, but with Starlink, you never quite know. We are also looking at some options to do some bonding of our connections, which should help with these drops as well. the last time Ship 24 did a spin prime test, it actually did multiple of them. So we're waiting to see if we might see another happen on Ship 24. In the meantime, the orbital tank farm is venting pretty heavily. Capstar says he is Andrew also. Nice to meet you, Andrew. Mark says, what is the possibility of a re-entry where the vehicle is refueled in orbit and can then slow down to re-enter like the first stage? It would seem easier than thermal issues. Where the vehicle is refueled in orbit and can slow down to re-enter like the first stage. Mark, so I don't know exactly the question, but if you're asking why Ship 24 can't just refuel and then come down vertically, it's because of the speed that you have to come in from orbit. You have to come in a lot faster so you don't bounce off the atmosphere. That can literally happen if you're coming in from orbit too slow. You'll bounce off the atmosphere. You have to be coming in fast enough, and because you have to be coming in so fast, the interaction between the spacecraft and the atmosphere is going to give you heats that are like actually I don't have the numbers on the top of my head, but I actually want to say that some spacecraft re-entry can get hotter than the surface of the sun, if I remember correctly. You can double check me on that one, but I do recall hearing that. So yeah, it's gotta land differently than the first stage, because the first stage doesn't get out as far into the atmosphere. Long pause this time, Capstar. We'll have to keep working on that. There are clouds around, but none directly above me. Suppose that could be playing a factor, but I honestly don't think so. I got a pretty solid clear sky. Love Lope V says, is this a static fire? So far we've seen a spin prime test of S24. We don't know if there is going to be a pre-burn or a static fire today. Other than the clouds in the outside area, it is quite a nice day down here on South Padre Island. I think the weather is in the 80s. After you add the humidity, the heat index is in the mid 90s, but it's quite a nice day down here. Not as hot as it's been. Mark says 17,500 miles per hour. Yep, that is the speed that the ISS maintains in order to keep its orbit. 17,500 miles per hour. That's like, I want to say 10 times faster than the kind of like the speed of a bullet, which is crazy. Arthur says, is it a static fire or a spin prime? We've seen a spin prime so far, but there's a lot of time left in the window. So there's a chance that they could do some additional testing, but we don't quite know yet. Just about 10, actually 12, 13, yeah, about 14 minutes ago, we saw the first spin prime test of the day. Harris says, sorry if you saw this already. When do you expect construction to start on Launch Tower 2? To be determined. Yeah, I don't think I would. I don't even know where to start on coming up with a date on that one yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'll keep my eyes peeled for you. Next time you're in chat, Harris, next stream, feel free to ask again, and I'll let you know if I have any more info. Hey, Bill, I'll look into that. Thank you for that information. I will definitely look into that. How's it going, Space Intelligence? Trash says, perfect way to end a Monday. How was your Monday, Trash? Is it busy? Brown says, I know there was a problem with the propellant load line from them hitting a bridge. They might be doing this to see if it was repaired. Brown, that was a Falcon 9, wasn't it? I think that was a Falcon 9 rocket. This is Starship that we're looking at here, super heavy. Rocket launches today. Just satellite handovers. We get it in SpaceX Starlink missions with landing as well. Very good point. Very good point. Some days the handovers are a lot cleaner with less of a noticeable impact. But yeah, so far today, it seems just a little bit more tricky, but that's all right. The end goal here is to make sure that we're bringing you live footage of all these tests and answering your questions. So a few drops here and there. Those are things that we're gonna work on, but they won't keep us from getting excited about all this stuff and bringing this content to you. Kevin. Capstar also has snacks. Rocket is confirming that the Falcon 9 that had an issue is now vertical at McGregor for testing. Very busy Monday. Yeah, same here, Trash. Same here. I'm going to be taking a close look at the booster here to see if we see any signs of frosting. So far, no sign. And keeping an eye on S24 to see if there's any additional spin prime tests. We saw a spin prime just a little while ago. Just shortly after 5:05, I think maybe closer to 5:10. Capstar wanted to go to the SLS booster test. Oh, that's right, Capstar. There will be more opportunities in the future for you to catch events like that. appreciate all the comments and questions so far. If you have any other questions, it doesn't necessarily even have to be related to Starship or the testing we're seeing today. Any questions about space at all, please feel free to pop those in the chat. I do wish there was a little bit more of a breeze down here, but it is a solid day. Three to 6,000 Fahrenheit. Gotcha. Trash, personally, I would love to. If I ever got the opportunity to go to space, I would take it in a heartbeat. Capstar has family in Dallas. It's 103 up there right now. Wow, that's crazy. Continue to see additional venting happening from the orbital tank farm and booster 7. Capstar, that's actually a really good point. They could be affecting ground stations, but if I was to guess, those are probably 20 miles out at least, if not more. It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, I don't think those clouds are quite above Starbase. I think they're a bit further. Thanks for coming, NCJHD. See you next time. Again, for anybody just joining us, we have seen a spin prime of S24, and Booster 7 is now looking like it might be getting ready for some testing as well, so we're keeping a close eye on what's happening. Capstar says the clouds that we're seeing is truly right above Starbase. Gotcha. So they're just about 5 miles away from me then. Don is watching from Allentown, PA. Georgia. S24 seems to be picking up again. I'm going to mute for just a moment here. Alright, we are back. I think I gotta start bringing my fishing pole out here and fishing while we're doing these streams. Martin is watching from Western Australia. Yeah, Capstar, he said, did I just hear a car window? Cheater, get back on that heat. You did hear a car window. We want to make sure our equipment stays cool. So we're gonna cool everything down for a little bit. That's why you might notice a slight increase in vibrations in the camera, but we'll just roll with that for a little bit while everything cools down. Seawater is the best fish. Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, we are in the Jeep today, Kevin. I've never been shark fishing. I have been deep sea fishing, though. Brown says we need some tactical cool water. I would agree with that, Brown. I would agree with that. Also true, Capstar. I couldn't have one right now. The base of S24 is still looking frosty. We still continue to see venting from the orbital launch mount. The air conditioning is feeling good. Hey, Space Viper. You've been bitten by a shark on your front doorstep, Martin? How did that work? Hey, Space Viper. Yeah, my name is Andrew. I'm with the launch pad, and we are live right now. So I'm sitting a foot away from the camera that is bringing you these live views. Helen, that's scary. Wow. Just as a quick recap, we saw a spin prime test around 5:10 on ship 24. Ship 24 continues to be a bit frosty, so we're waiting to see what kind of testing may continue on the ship, or if we'll see a spin prime test on the booster today as well. Now, of course, the orbital launch mount on that left-hand side is all a lot of vapors coming off of it, so we definitely have more activity coming up. Tactical says, isn't it super hot over there, or are you okay? So Tactical, the good thing about this area of Texas is the proximity to the water. Like, we're right on the Gulf, which helps kind of moderate the temperatures a bit. So while, central Texas is seeing over 100 degrees, 105, 106, 107, it's staying under 100 here. Today it's actually only like 80 something After the heat index, it's mid 90s, but that's doable. And right now I am in the AC, so I'm good right now. But even just a little while ago, I just had the windows open. That was good enough. But I'm good. Thank you for your concern. Harris says the Starship does not have an abort system, but can't it just separate from the booster, belly flop, flip, and land in the ocean? So yeah, Harris, SpaceX has advertised that the abort solution of Starship is just by building redundancy into the vehicle. You can think of it kind of like an airplane. Air travel is very, very safe. There are occasional incidents, but it is the safest mode of travel. And there's, it's different, of course, because you can glide with a plane. You can't necessarily do that with a Starship. But the whole idea is to build redundancy into the vehicle so that a separate abort system isn't necessarily required. That being said, could the Starship get away from the booster if there was a problem with the booster in time? I would like to hear more from SpaceX on that particular point. So we'll keep that in mind, and if we ever have the opportunity to ask, we will do that. Space says, I also have a YouTube channel, but I think you're way better than me. I love supporting you. Go, Andrew. Oh, it's not about anybody being better or worse. It's just about getting out there and doing it, Space. So the fact that you have a channel and that you're making content means that you're heading in the right direction, and experience will continue to make your videos better and everything. So just keep doing it, bud. Connolly family asks, this is the one at Cape Canaveral, right? I'm staying at the Holiday Inn at Cape Canaveral from my balcony. So this one is not at Cape Canaveral. We are down actually at Boca Chica in Texas. The one you might be referring to, if there's one on the site right now, it must be a Falcon 9. Tomorrow 7 p.m. signs around here say when launches. What is launching tomorrow? But I'm glad to hear there's a launch while you're there. You should definitely make sure you make it a point to go see that. No problem, Brown. That's why I'm here. Very cool, Connolly family. That should be awesome. That's crazy, Martin. That is very true. Boats are hard to shoot video on. I just want to take a moment again to thank everybody for any way that they're interacting today, whether you're chatting, whether you're asking questions, whether you've submitted a super chat or became a member today or subscribed to the channel. These are all things that really help us do what we want to do here, and we want to bring you more content from Starbase, and the only way to do that is with your help. So again, I do want to thank you for coming and chatting and hanging out and doing all those things, because that's why we're here, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. Harris, I'd love to take a trip on a New Shepard, that's for sure. We are continuing to monitor the activity at Starbase. Ship 24 has already undergone some testing, and we expect more to be happening here. Ship 24 at just around 5:10 completed a spin prime test. This is an important test in order to kind of get the to make sure everything is in working order for future static fire tests and eventually for launch. A spin prime test is when you load liquid oxygen through the turbo pumps of the engine, and you basically see a big waterfall of LOX come out of the bottom of the engine that is being tested. This is the type of test that we saw cause an explosion at the base of Booster 7 just about 3 weeks ago. So these tests don't necessarily usually expected any sort of ignition. Of course, there was an unexpected ignition during that test, but they've looked Booster 7 over, and it's back at the pad now with its outer 20 engines. It doesn't have all of its engines, and it remains to be seen whether Booster 7 will be used for just testing, or if we're going to see Booster 7 eventually go into orbit, or at least deliver Starship on an orbital flight test. We will have to wait and see. But for now, we are keeping our eyes peeled, just because anytime that SpaceX is doing testing on these experimental vehicles, you never quite know what's going to happen. And even if everything goes according to plan and everything goes successfully and right, it's important for us to kind of witness these things happening, because this is a life-changing program that is happening. It's a huge moment for society and humanity. So each step along the way is an important one. So that's why we're here watching it today. Just catching up on some messages here. When do we expect Booster 7's half of the closure? It is undergoing some testing now, so I would expect any minute here. I don't know what we're expecting to see on Booster 7. Could be cryo or spin prime, or hypothetically a pre-burner or static fire. We don't know if the we think an overpressure notice is still required, but I would not say that we're 100% certain on that. So we are standing by. I have a Jeep Wrangler. Thank you for the question, Russell. Lots of birds down here. Cut out? Let me know if there was a question that I cut out on. I can try to answer. Brown, it's going to be amazing to see them try to catch a booster. I just got to make sure that this person doesn't stand right in front of my camera. They're walking on by. Oh, come on, keep walking. They're okay right now, but I'm just afraid they're going to stop right in front of it. It looks like they're walking on by. We're good. I'm just keeping my eyes on to make sure that they're not. Sardo Blaster, that is what we do believe. We believe that to be true. That no OP notice means no static fire, but we do want to leave about 2% chance that the process has changed. We don't think that's the case, but just in case the process changed, we just want to keep in mind that it's possible that we could see some unexpected activity like that, but it isn't likely. Tactical says, if you could make a planet, what would it be, Launchpad? It's a really good question. I think a planet, a habitable planet that could safely allow humans to live on it, but also have rings and like 2 moons. I think that would be really cool to have a planet like Earth, but with rings and 2 moons. No, you're good. Just no good. How are you? One sec. Huh? We're barely just enough bandwidth right now to run our stream, so. What are you streaming The launch pad.
Launch pad.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, we're competing team, I guess.
Nice. What about you guys?
Well, this we're from Europe, Space Junkie team. I'm from Chicago, but they're from Hungary.
Welcome. You guys been here for a while? You just getting here?
No,
or?
we just got here.
Nice.
Spent a few days in Florida.
Cool.
So to lunches.
Nice.
Just got here.
How long are you here?
2 days.
Today.
The Friday.
Nice.
Doing a live stream?
Yeah. We're live right now. So, we got some orbital tank farm activity, and then we had some suborbital tank farm activity. S24 did a spin prime test a little while ago, and now we're waiting to see if Booster 7 is going to do anything, or if there'll be more spin prime tests, or so. Just hanging out and checking it out. Have you guys actually been down to? So it's going to be a little bit difficult with the road closures, but you can just go tonight or whatever. But make sure you get down there.
10 to 10, right?
Yeah. It's possible that they can extend them, but
Tonight it's on to 10 p.m., right? So,
yeah, it's till 10, but they could push it later if they wanted. It doesn't happen too often, but we've never seen the orbital tank farm and suborbital tank farm spin up at the same time. So I don't know if they're expecting a long day of testing or.
And it's supposed to do static, right?
There was no overpressure notice, so I'd say 95% chance there's no static fire today, but I'd keep your eyes out for the next couple days.
okay, just in the right time.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Yeah, make sure you go down there. All right, y'all. I'm not sure how much of that you did or did not hear, but we had a group of people from Europe that is staying down here at Starbase for a few days to check out what's going on down here. One of the guys is actually followed by the Launchpad account, which is really cool. And it sounds like they're really excited to be here and to see all the testing, and they're excited about what's happening over the next couple weeks or days. Capstar, I haven't personally watched Moonfall yet. S24 is looking a little bit extra frosty, I would say. That could be either an indication of additional prop load, or they could be detanking. That would also cause it to look more frosty, but I'm thinking it also could just be related to the reflection of the sun. So I'd say S24 is kind of in the same state it's been. So it looks like we've had 2 spin prime tests so far on S24. Tactical says planet with some type of different colored water, even though that would be hard to think of. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Volume down 2/3 out. Gotcha. Thanks for the update. Rocket launches today. We got an update on the top of the screen. You'll see where we're at in today's testing, and we'll keep updating that list as we see more indications of what we're seeing for testing today. Seeing a big influx of venting at the base of booster 7 at the moment. I'm going to mute just for a second here while I open my door and try to get out and figure out where my phone went. My door is super loud, so give me a moment. All right. Tactical asks, if you could design a rocket, what would it do and take inspiration from? Tactical, to be completely honest with you, I think my design would be not very practical, but it would look something like Starship, but have some more like shuttle or like Saturn V components to it. I don't know. Maybe take like a Starship and put some shuttle boosters on it or something. That would be crazy. Not very practical, but Capstar, there may or may not be some. I don't currently have a scanner. Quick reminder for those who are just joining us, we are live on South Padre Island with a live view of Starbase. We saw some spin prime tests on S24, and the orbital tank farm is pretty active today as well. So we're seeing if there's going to be some sort of tests on Booster 7 coming up. But we're just keeping a close eye on everything and seeing how the day progresses. Brown says SpaceX should build some high fireproof bleachers out there for you guys with high-speed connections and power. Brown, that would be really awesome. I think that's a great idea. And shade, yeah, shade is important down here. So like, as hot as it can get down here, like, it's hot, but the water keeps us a little bit cooler than Central Texas and stuff like that. But what really gets you down here is the UV index, since we're further south than most, almost all of the United States, so closer to the equator, and the UV index every day is like 11 plus. So it's strong sun down here. You're really got to make sure that you're staying out of the sun during the strongest times, using sunscreen, and drinking plenty of water. Notice venting maybe picking up again slightly on S24. And then the orbital tank farm is just, or I guess you can call it the mount, is just continuing to vent. SpaceX just needs to build y'all a media bunker. That would be really cool. That would be really, really cool. Fort Myers, Capstar. Yeah, you're just about the same latitude. I didn't realize that, Capstar. So I guess the question here will be, what remaining testing are we gonna have here? William says no action yet. So William, we saw 2 spin prime tests of ship 24 so far. It looks like ship 24 could be detanking at this time, and we've seen a lot of venting from the orbital launch mount and tank farm. No frosting on booster 7 yet, but we did see those 2 tests of ship 24. So ship 24 in total is got to be up to what, 6 or 7 spin prime tests at this point. Not today. They've only had 2 today, but you moved to Georgia in 86. Nice. Yeah. Busy day for the birds down here. They're all over the place. Capstar says, y'all using the mobile Starlink, or are you running a land-based off an inverter or generator? So we had a Starlink RV unit, though we weren't getting the performance out of it that we wanted. So we tried. We finally were able to get through on one of the home units. So we are running on one of those now, and we are running that off of a big old battery pack that will run this whole rig for about 12 hours or so. But yeah, it has the mobile. What is it called? You can add on to the Starlink Home and add mobility or whatever they call it. Quite a bit of venting from the orbital launch mount continues. And we're waiting to see what kind of testing is going to be happening on Booster 7, if at all, but we do know that they are continuing to test. Something over there, whether it's the orbital launch mount or Booster 7 itself. Oops, I accidentally just disliked the stream. Didn't mean to do that. So running a UPS pack as a standalone or inverter pack. I mean, it has an inverter built into it, but it's a standalone unit. It's not using any of the battery from the vehicle. Has a built-in, it charges and maintains DC, and then yeah, it has an inverter built into it. Yeah. Things like 50 pounds. It's heavy. Did it freeze on a a big bird. Oh, there's a fly. I'll have to get rid of that fly. It looks like the venting has increased a bit again on booster 7 area. Ship 24 looks like its frost line is almost gone at this point. So I think attention is really shifting from the ship to the booster. In fact, I may center the booster here and view a little bit, but I don't know, I guess we have a pretty good view of both right now. But I'm curious if we're going to see any frosting on booster 7. So far we have no indication that they're doing a test on the booster itself, but I would not be surprised if we ramping up their whatever they're running through the orbital tank farm and launch mount. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some frosting, but we'll sit here and find out. That's funny, Cap. Oh yeah, am I seeing... I just saw like a puff of venting that almost looked like it came from the booster. Harris says, I'm confused. Our SpaceX testing B7 today. So Harris, we saw some testing of Ship 24 for sure. Some couple spin prime tests. Now the attention is leaning over to booster 7. We think just in the last minute or so, I would see some indication that they might be moving forward on some more B7 testing. So I would say the answer is yes. I think they're testing B7. But let's hold up a little bit just to make sure that's the case. So far we've only seen venting from the tank farm and the mount, but we will have to see. I'm still looking at Booster 7 pretty closely here, and I still don't see any frostiness or any sign that they're actually loading locks in the vehicle, so we'll have to see. Alright, everybody, I'm going to give a quick update for anybody who is just joining. We saw 2 spin prime tests on Ship 24 just a little while ago. Ship 24 then has detanked, so attention is all on Booster 7. We've seen venting from the orbital tank farm and the launch mount for quite a while now. So we're waiting to see what SpaceX might have up their sleeve for Booster 7 today. So we're kind of looking for any frost lines or anything building on Booster 7. But so far we're just in a holding pattern as we wait to see what's going to be happening. I am going to jump off commentary here for probably 20 minutes or so. And just leave you with some general ambience of the birds and everything around here while I go just take a real quick break for something important. And I will be monitoring all the questions that you might have when I come back. So yeah, just drop any questions you have and I will be back shortly. But yeah, attention is on B7 right now. So while I'm gone, keep a close eye on B7 and let me know if you see anything interesting happening. I will be back in just a couple minutes, or a few minutes rather. You will hear my Jeep engine starting in a minute too. I'm just gonna lock everything up and yeah. So I'll be back in a minute.
Hi, you alright?
Oh
How are you doing?
How's it going,
I'm alright.
Andrew?
I'm Sabi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. How's it going?
Yeah, we just finally made it.
Nice.
We arrived a week and a half ago,
Okay.
Florida. We saw, just with the instructions, sailing out. Saw short fall of gravitas from a chopper. We saw the two rocket launches. We've done the KSC tour and everything. We've been up close to the other service tower. We've been driving over here. We stopped at Pensacola. See the two grids.
Nice.
We go Friday.
Yeah.
And then we will go back. I will get home.
Wow. A long way.
Yep.
I hope you're lucky.
It will be so good. So, don't be correct. We finished testing for the day for the S24.
So they definitely on the box stuff and they did so like so the tanks essentially from what we can see it looks like spin runners, but we don't really know. So they could be doing S24 but they also have to take a few hours, you never know. And then but yeah, it's like mostly tanks on so seeing venting from the tank farms from orbital mount. Haven't seen any cross lines or anything like that yet. So whether they're tank testing that mount or if they're actually loading cross lines. But yeah.
Got it. The timing, and I'm sure that Mr. A is going to make this right. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next few days.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. That's what a lot of people are thinking. I'm almost thinking that they're going to wait until they're done with that and they're happy. But if you hear rumors about you're thinking about the light room test, you need to get down to the meeting before they go to
Yes. The matter of fact is that we contacted Maria Pointer,
Oh, perfect.
and
So
she
you're
offered an office.
Good, good.
I don't know what's the view from there.
I forget where, yeah, I forget where the office is exactly. I remember kind of, but I don't know if it might be a bit. I kind of forget. You'll see when you get there.
I mean, we agree. I mean, she.
The train's fast.
Oh, it's right.
Yeah.
Guys, look at the cloud.
That's a big cloud.
Uh-huh. seat belt and just opens
just
up the
put
door
my
and it's
hand.
just like sitting like
Yeah.
this.
Just put my
Oh.
hand in.
De figyeljetek, még nem indjátok be az autót, azt nyomjátok a légkörül.
Azt szerintem a többiekkel, ja nem, csak
De
szeretnék.
egyébként hozzuk ide az
Az
autót.
az autó, ide indíts be, azt üljetek bele, hogy
Dávid,
percet.
átállsz ide az autóba?
Van.
Csak le tudunk ülni.
Kicsit hűlni. Legalább nem itt csinálni.
Figyelj már, itt olcsó a
Meg a
benzin.
cuccokat betenni, hogy ne itt legyenek esetleg, vagy csak így oldalra.
Igen, nincs választás.
Ó, de jó. Már ha nélkül.
Többieknek már kifinganak, azért ültek be.
De talán indítsátok be, de nem nyitott ajtó, de nem légkontroll, hát azért van.
Varázsom, addig itt hagyom, jó?
Jó.
Átállottattól ide. Még lehet egy kis árnyék is, hogy eljöttök ide minden mellé. Rainbow? What is rainbow?
Hát, és akkor hátaláljak be, hogy ékenyen a búzlátok. Vagy beállok orra le.
Ezért hozzá hozzá. De hát, de most élőzünk, nem? Vagy mire
Azt
gondolsz?
mondtátok, hogy álljon
Ja, hogy ide? Nem a kocsiból live-ozunk. Csak hogy legyen itt az automobil esetleg közelebb, és akkor
Szűrni 5 percre, kicsit lehűlni, ne pusztuljatok.
le tudjuk egy kicsit indítani, hogy mit tudom én, csak beülni. Nem abból
Ide
live
hagyd
csak
menjen.
hogy itt legyen. érted?
Persze,
És
nem
a
azt
többieknek
csináljuk.
se kell ott üldögélni, ahol nem
akkor
hallanak
ide
semmit,
jövök.
hanem...
Ja.
Szerintem én használom.
Ja, de egyébként láttad?
Láttál, ez fénykép, azt hiszem. Ha nincs itt a fiú, nem lopjuk azt a Starlinket a kocsijára, jó? Hey, Marky. I don't have tools here, but in the hotel I do have some.
Oh, is he done for the day?
No, I in the city, then I go for a little while.
Oh.
Maybe he's done. If it's too hot, I can just swallow that one. Make sure it's open exactly to 360. Yeah, you open it so you see a 360 circles.
Oh,
You
well,
see
if I
a-
do it all the way, I can't see anything.
Well, then don't open all the way.
Which is why I don't.
You have to find a distance of your eyes. And then the center roller is focused.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's fixed magnification.
Hol kell lenni, Fala?
Kicsit üljetek le az autóba, és aztán ki lehet ülni 10 perc, 15 percre, az kész. Olyan, mint kijönni a légkontrollba, de jó van. Jó van. That'll be nice. Well, le kéne lopni azt a Starlinket, én azt mondom.
Most kéne Joe-t be...
Tényleg most belekadjátok a Marki?
Nem, jobb bej volt. Meg is rakni neki, csak egy kicsit.
right. Muting for the loud noise. Alright everybody, I am back with commentary. If you are just joining us, thank you for hanging out. My name is Andrew and this is the launch pad. Just a little while ago we saw S-24 complete 2 spin prime tests. Now we're waiting to see what's going to happen with booster 7. Waiting to see if there's any indication of prop load, which may or may not be happening. We're taking a look right now to see if we can find any indication of it. And then that will kind of give us an idea of what the rest of the night is going to hold. So stand by and we're going to figure out what's going on here. I think we are done with S-24 for now, so we're going to center up on booster 7. And just give us a couple moments to adjust our cameras here. And I will be opening up chat and taking a look at what kind of questions you might have. Alright, it looks like we have seen a little bit of venting from the booster 7 engine section, I think, which would indicate that we might be seeing a load of cryo, but let's hold up. Oh yeah, rocket launches today. Yep, we might be seeing it, but it's hard to say exactly. And Rocket Note asks, what is a spin prime test? And rocket launches today did a good job at explaining that. So yeah, spin prime test is loading LOX through the turbo pumps of the engine, just to make sure that that sequence works correctly. That is an important step to make sure the engine is functioning prior to, if that test was to go well, it's in good shape for the next step, which would be a pre-burner test and then eventually a static fire. So if Booster 7 does do a spin prime today, then we'll be keeping our eyes out for any overpressure notices that are sent out to the area tonight or tomorrow, or this week in general, to see if we're going to see any pre-burner or static fire attempts. Brian says it's going to be awesome to see Starship fly to the moon. Brian, you don't even know how excited I am to see something like that. That would be so cool. I want to see this thing get off the ground and off to the moon and Mars eventually. But yeah, I still don't see any frost lines, so we're gonna say that they're doing venting tests so far. Maybe not prop load. Chase said it thundered really loud here when it said loud noise a second ago. I was predicting. Is this going to replace the boosters? Is this going to replace and boosters they may be using? Timothy, I'm not exactly sure what the question is. If you want to clarify a little bit, but I think maybe what you're asking is, will Starship replace the boosters that they're using now? Like is Starship, when it is successfully in an operational state, going to replace the Falcon 9? And the answer is yeah, probably eventually. As long as Starship keeps progressing the right way, I think we could see it eventually replace Falcon 9. I don't think it'll happen as soon as some people think. There's going to be some payloads that are specifically built for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy that will have to fly on those. But yeah, in the long run, this could, and SpaceX wants this to replace Falcon 9 eventually. Yep, as rocket launches is reporting, we do see a frost line on booster 7. This is a little bit different than what we've seen before, leading up to cryo tests and spin prime tests. So we're just kind of hanging out, and we're trying to get to a spot in the next 15 to 20 minutes where we try to understand what we might be in for over the next couple hours. There's less than 3 hours left of the testing window. There's always the possibility of them increasing or extending the window. But yeah, we're just basically keeping our eyes peeled to try to understand what we're looking at here, so we know what we may or may not see, and then kind of plan around that. And in the meantime, we're just hanging out here, enjoying all the comments and questions. So thanks everybody for hanging with us and enjoying watching some really important testing happening down here at Starbase. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Hey, Knowledge Tree. The Starship Orbit test is not today. We don't quite know when that test is going to be happening yet. But yeah, no flights today. We're looking to see if we have some more spin prime tests or a cryo test of the booster, but it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen what we expect for the remainder of this window. Just want to take a moment to just say thank you to everybody that has been watching so far today. For anybody who's commented or asked questions, we appreciate any super chats or memberships, and anybody who liked or subscribed to the video. Again, I just want to reiterate that those things mean a lot to us, and it really helps us do what we want to do. We're just trying to get this content out there to the people who want to see it, and get people excited and together in this community, so we can all hang out and enjoy these moments. So thank you so much, everybody who has supported us so far, and we're still just hanging out to see what Booster 7 is gonna do or not do today. Yeah, Kevin, it's a little bit hard to do the orbital test when the booster and the ship are a few hundred feet apart. Maybe even 1,000 feet apart. Actually, yeah, it's hundreds of yards away. Hey, Austin. We're thinking probably no sign of static fire today. We really do expect there to be an overpressure notice prior to static fire. I'd say we're 99% confident of that. There is always that 1% chance that something unexpected happens. But I do think there's still a chance for some exciting testing to happen on Booster 7 today, whether that be a spin prime test or something else. So SpaceX seems like they're playing games with us a little bit here. They've just been venting on the OLM and the orbital launch mount and the tank farm for a long time now, a couple hours at least. And just relatively recently did we start seeing any signs of them actually potentially loading propellant onto the booster. So we're still trying to wait to see if we see a clear indication of upcoming testing, like a really strong frost line that continues to increase. So we'll have to see. Hey, Florida Sunshine. Nice to see you. So they definitely did a lot of work on the chopsticks, or they did some work on the chopsticks today. And I think they've had lifts up, over the last couple days to look at that. They did lift the chopsticks back up for the testing today. Now they're not really grappling the booster. So I don't know if they're completely fixed or if they're, just kind of in progress and they just kind of wanted to get them up out of the way for testing. But they have been working on them. Austin is excited for Artemis 1 to lift off. Me too. I'm really, really excited, and I hope it happens. I mean, it's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen relatively soon, I hope, but I just hope it happens on the first launch window. And I don't know how likely that is. I don't know how likely it is that it'll go off on the 29th, but we'll tell you what, we'll be there. If it happens, we're gonna be there, and we're gonna see it. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, August 29th. Yeah, that's the first launch day. So we'll see if it gets up off the ground. Excuse me. On the 29th. This month. No static fire today, no OP notice, and both vehicles have done depress vents. All right, y'all. So now is the time where we start making decisions for the night. So we're gonna keep a close eye on Booster 7 here just for the next few minutes. If it looks like they're done, then we'll wrap up. But if it doesn't look like they're done, we'll make a decision about how stream is going to progress here. But just in case over the next few minutes, if it does look like they're continuing to wind down, I want y'all to get a last minute to ask any questions you might have. So if you could do me a huge favor and just pop in the chat where you're watching from, let us know what part of the country or what country you're watching from. And if you have any questions about what we saw today, as a quick reminder, we saw 2 spin tests of Ship 24. We saw a lot of venting going on the orbital launch mount and pad and orbital tank farm. And we're just kind of waiting to see if Booster 7 has anything else up its sleeve for today. But I think this is going to probably be a busy week for testing. Keep our eyes out for that overpressure notice, which would give us an indication of some sort of pre-burner or static fire test. So we'll keep you all updated with anything that we see there. Sounds like Tower Section 6 is rolling out at Kennedy, so they're continuing to build the Starship launch tower at Kennedy. Florida Sunshine, I'll be there. Heather will be there. Austin will be watching Artemis on his TV. Florida will be there with the new camper van. Congratulations, that's exciting. Yeah, Kevin, I agree. First launch window. Yeah, there's a lot of cool boats down here, Austin. A lot of cool boats. Got a cool snapshot of the moon, Austin. That's cool. What lens do you use? I bought a telephoto and I'm excited to get a similar view. So right now we're actually using a PTZ camera. It has a built-in, it doesn't have exchangeable lenses. We're actually looking at, I'm going to be testing another camera this week. It's another PTZ. It doesn't have a specific lens. But I use other cameras for taking pictures down at Starbase and stuff. But for these streams, we're working with the PTZ cameras right now. I could look at the stats on the lens. I just don't have them in front of me. Florida says they're expecting over 100,000 people to be out there. All the hotels in the area are sold out. Yeah, I booked an Airbnb, and then the host came back to me and said, "Oh yeah, sorry, we already booked this on a different app," which was bad because it was nice and close and half decent price, and that was going to work out really well. Now we got to find another option, but that's okay. I'm really excited to see everybody down there, though. All right, everybody. So here's where we're at. I'm gonna do a quick recap and let you know what our plan is. So we've been down here for over 4 hours now. We got to see some really cool testing. We saw 2 spin prime tests of Ship 24, and the whole time the orbital launch mount and the tank farm was venting. It was a huge surprise to see the OLM and the suborbital tank farm start venting at the same time. That was pretty cool to see, and gave me a little bit of a rush because we had no idea what kind of testing we were going to end up seeing. But the Ship 24 testing seemed to go well as far as we could tell. And now Booster 7 has just been kind of hanging out. Not a lot's been happening. There's been a little vent here, a little vent there. an indication of potential prop loading, but there really hasn't been much going on. We're getting close to just 2 hours left in the window. So there's always the chance that they extend the window. But based on what we're seeing right now, we think it's going to be best to kind of to wrap the stream, and we'll obviously be going live when further testing is happening during this week. So like, we're keeping our eyes peeled for overpressure notices, which would indicate that we're having a pre-burner or a static fire testing. Pre-burner and static fire testing are both very, very exciting tests to see. We'll see some fire and hear some sounds during the static fire testing, and it would look real cool from the shot, actually. I must say, at the moment, we're getting quite a beautiful view here to sign off with. The sun is coming down. We'll get some good view of the clouds. But yeah, I think that's going to be doing it for us here today. We will keep our eye out to make sure nothing too exciting happens tonight. And we'll make sure we post about anything that may or may not happen. But yep, we're gonna wrap up for now. Thank you everybody so much for joining, for your messages, your questions, your super chats, liking and subscribing. It all helps us so much in accomplishing our goal, is just trying to reach as many people as possible and get them excited about these things and hang out with us in our community. So that's about it. I'll see you all soon, and have a good night.